What is up? Happy Wednesday. It's the economy, stupid. We could sit here and talk about all this other stuff. It means very little. You know what matters? The economy. The economy.
It's Friday.
What did I say it is?
Wednesday.
Oh, well, it's Wednesday for us.
It's Friday for me.
For those of you guys don't know, Bell quit till next 2 Mondays from now. For now.
I'll be gone for the next week and a quarter.
Did you know that? So most people didn't know that. You just like, well, I'm done. I'm out. Quit. I'll be back in a little bit.
Brother Chad.
What's up, brother?
How do you pronounce the Prime Minister of Ireland's last name?
Let's see here.
Leprechaun?
Taoiseach?
I'm looking.
I'm going to have, man.
Spell it to me really quick.
Taoiseach.
Probably Taoiseach.
Taoiseach.
Yes.
I'm
Probably
pretty sure
Taoiseach.
that's Irish for Smith.
Taoiseach. Hello there, everyone. How you doing there? Me, it's Taoiseach. Very exciting to be here today. I know that is a lot of stuff going on. And no, we're not going to have a trade war with our leprechauns and you, Mr. President.
You can't have any of our leprechauns.
They're little and they don't want any part of anything you guys have. And they're really pissed about you guys trying to steal the rainbow. You know who I'm talking about. And it's early and we've already offended. Salanch. So So Mahmoud Khalil. So he's had his hearing? Because I wasn't sure if he had the hearing or not. Or is it ongoing?
I think it is yet to come.
Okay. See, because I keep hearing, I'm like, did he have his hearing? Did he not have his hearing? Because
let's see here.
As I was trying to get in, I thought, well, they haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, all I've got is, I've got some preview audio with Marco Rubio, who says it's the Trump administration's belief, that this guy is a terrorist.
Yeah.
And so that apparently, according to them, removes any green card protection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I say the reason, yesterday, it's due process. One of the great things about this is when you take it to court, it's not only doing it in a way where you can say, you guys were worried there wasn't going to get due process, we're going to throw them out. We didn't do that. We followed all the stuff. But the bigger thing besides that, and due process is the most important thing, is the exposure of the insanity on college campuses. You allowed this to run amok on your campus. You allowed people like this, who has a disdain for Western culture, for the United States of America, for Jewish students, for basically anything that he felt was oppressive towards the Palestinians. And because that's the new fashion statement, and it is that time of year where it's gorgeous outside, and you can go outside and protest all you want because I look great doing it. And you can put that out there as a double whammy. Let the world see and expose everybody to the insanity where these college campuses have been overrun. And, I heard the thing where they're like, there's a fervor for him, right? They're rabble rousing to get him back. This is who you're gonna hit your pony to, huh? This is it. Good luck with that, guys. But doing it right and doing it in a way where the due process is there and you can expose it. Because so many people want to do stuff, knee-jerk reaction. No. Bigger thing here. Think macro instead of micro. Think bigger, win bigger. Aim small, miss small. Inflation. Man, I listen to the reports about inflation because it's the economy. I mean, we talk about it all the time here. If you're feeling good, you're going to spend more than if you're terrified. Things are cooling down. That's what we want. But every time I hear something, it's always about burying the lead. It's like, well, it's up this, but it's actually, slowing down compared to last year. Now, I don't always, like the CPI, which is what they go off, it's tough to gauge because they always talk about stuff. They're like, we're going to take this out and this out and this out. And you're like, that's the only thing I care about. Right? Like the housing cost, fuel, food. Well, they're volatile. I understand that. But it's not socks. Like, what'd your socks cost last year? $2. What are they this year? $2.10. Oh, my God, inflation's up. No, that's ridiculous. You got to have it all in there. But the number one thing is consumer confidence. That's the thing that matters most. Everybody else will tell you it's about this or it's about... If you feel good right now. If you're not worried, that's what matters. If you feel like I can do this, great. Life's good. I'm not worried about my job. Prices are, I feel that I can I can withstand any, but, it could go up a little bit, down a little bit. I'm going to be okay until we get this thing sorted out and on the tracks that we want. That's the thing that matters.
Prices rose more slowly last month than expected. Prices up 2.8% from a year ago. They're still going up, but they're improving.
Ken, let me ask you, would you have said more slowly?
No.
Okay.
I would have said it's going down.
Or prices are slowing. The rate of inflation is slowing.
Exactly. And, ABC News put it interestingly. They put it exceeding expectations.
Yeah.
Which means it's slower than expected.
Yeah, because it's the whole thing about inflation, it's the rate of inflation.
Right. The prices are going up. It's just not as fast.
Yes, because they're always going to go up. Things are always going to happen, fuel, stuff like that. So you're always going to get a little bit of the inflation. That's why they always have that mystical, magical 2%.
Right.
But it's more slower. It's slower downer.
It's more slow.
It's the more slower that I've ever seen inflation do for the last couple of more slower years. It's pretty good. It's like more better than last time. You guys think it's more better?
More gooder.
It's more gooder.
It's more gooder.
Hey, it's more. That's what we're headed to right now, by the way. We're headed to that live on television. I'm live tonight. Tonight's weather's going to be more gooder than yesterday. By the way, how about the weather?
I'm telling you, dude. We got to go outside, boys.
We should do it. I was telling the people downstairs, guys, we got to get ourselves, I don't know, you can put us on a green. We could do a show live from there. That would be so awesome.
We could just go up on the roof and broadcast from up there with the remote.
I would do that.
I would too.
It's gorgeous outside.
Of course, I can't go up on the roof.
Well, you can't, but I mean, we're talking about Ken and I, so we don't really care about you. But
hey, you sound a lot like my mom when you say
you said
things
you're
like
leaving,
that.
so you know what? You're not part of this conversation.
Ow!
What is the weather? Well, we're getting some storms, right?
Yeah, looks like we can have a few pop-up storms tomorrow before the real deal. Late Friday night into Saturday morning, and then again Saturday afternoon. That second round Saturday afternoon's the one that we're going to have to keep an eye on.
When you say keep an eye, what are we looking at?
Can't rule out tornadoes.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, any storms that pop up, the recipe is there for them to go severe, and then once they get to severe status, there is although a low chance, but it's still a chance that they could spawn tornadoes.
This is going to be interesting. I'm excited. I'm enjoying this while we can.
Yeah.
I am, because I miss this. I'm in shorts today. You guys didn't see my awesome. You saw my shorts. I'm wearing my octopus squid shorts.
I almost put my shorts on today. Almost did.
Join me tomorrow in shorts wearing.
All right, I'll do it.
All right. Shorts wearing tomorrow. Shorts wearing Thursday, or Bell's Saturday, is leaving us. So much stuff to get to today. We're going to talk more about the economy, Ukraine, stuff like that. But I've got some, I want to talk about U.S. aid. The insanity of the fact that they're burning stuff in the buildings is so weird. They're shredding and burning things. They have burn bags. How do you have a burn bag for something like what exactly are you hiding? I mean, last time I checked, I thought in your altruistic ways, this was all about being a do-gooder. You were doing more gooder and better for the world, right? You were giving people malaria drugs and this paste that helps keep kids alive who are starving in places like Yemen and South Sudan or whatever famine, war-torn area in Africa that they talked about. You had issues that you were taking care of when it came to HIV. What are you burning? Why are you burning stuff? Because that's fascinating that you would even think, what? Wait? There's no reason. And like I told Chris, if you're burning something and you don't want your better half or somebody else to see it, either you're a spy, right? Or you've got a secret that you want nobody to know. And I'm not the spy secret's a little bit different because obviously the CIA probably had some stuff in there they didn't want people to see. You mean we weren't just giving HIV medicine to people to be kind? Oh, geez, that's insane. And, a lot on the Ukraine as well. I want you to reach out to us across all of our social media. And I heard you, Ken, say that you wouldn't do the driverless car.
Not on the freeway. It freaks me out. However, I felt better after learning that, I would be able, if there is a steering wheel in the car, I'd feel more comfortable. But that's kind of like saying you've quit smoking, even though every now and then you have one. You know what I mean?
Where we're going, we don't need no steering wheels.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. I got zero problems with it. No problems whatsoever. And I don't know why. Because I'm a little bit of a control freak at times, like most people are, right? In certain situations.
Yeah.
I had zero. I think I'd gotten to the point where I was driving so many miles, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if I got kidnapped, if they're going in that direction, and I don't have to drive.
Yeah.
And I would love it. I would absolutely, I would do it. If I could, I had the money, I'd have a driver.
So now people know if they kidnap you, if they want to punish you, they make you drive the getaway car.
Yes, that's it. You got to drive this. I'd be like, nope, sorry. It ends here. It is that crazy. It is that, people freak out, too, because the first time you see it, you're like, oh, my God, there's nobody in the car.
Yeah.
But, man, it was so nice. First of all, it's peaceful and quiet, which is a wonderful thing. And you can just sit there and you could, Instagram, you could work, you can TikTok. I took a little bit of a nap. I'm like, I don't care. If you're probably going to want to be asleep if you get into a crash anyways. And we did go on the freeway. We only went a few off ramps. But it is I could see the first time why people would freak. But the younger generation, they don't like to drive anyways.
No, they do not.
I guarantee you this technology will get to be so good at a certain point that government will come in and try to say you're no longer allowed to drive your own car.
Oh,
you
I'm
have
sure.
to let the computer do it.
I'm sure. And I want to see what it looks like when, like we were talking earlier, it used to be every 4 to 6 years, sometimes in certain things every 2 years, but usually about 4 years or so, technology would truly double. Now it's months that's doubling. I mean, AI especially it's turned it up to a level that's ridiculous. So what is it going to be in 2-3 years? It's going to be out of this world. And just because you have it, that's the other thing. In certain parts of the place, like California pushes for all this stuff, you're not allowed to drive. You're not allowed to go hands-free. So what do you mean?
But I guarantee you they'll be the first state to demand that we go hands-free when the technology gets good enough.
Yeah.
They'll be the ones that force the issue.
Yeah, but it's possible. It is like the younger generation. This is really aimed at them, and they don't drive. Man, I'm always amazed when I meet kids who are like 19 and 20, and it's not like they live in New York or London. You don't need a car if you live in New York and you live in downtown somewhere.
You don't want one.
You don't want one. I mean, same thing with, like London. Man, they don't have licenses. They don't need them. There are people that live in places where you need vehicles. They don't have cars. They're terrified to drive. Their anxiety's through the roof. When I was like 16, the day I turned 16, I'm like, I need my license. I need to leave.
Now.
Take me now. It's crazy. Coming up, a lot of stuff to get to. A little bit about Ukraine. We got some fun stuff as well. It's not all wacky stuff. Okay, some of it is. The gender insanity yesterday of the House hearing on something. We're going to talk about that because it is the perfect example of something that should have just been a snarky comment back and forth to each other, and two adults would have laughed a little bit and moved on, that turned out to be grandstanding, and the poor guys who got stuck in the middle of it. Talk about that, a bunch of other stuff. Check us out all across our social media. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Because
Facebook, X, and Twitch.
Because I heard kids want to go to camp, but if you like and subscribe for me, they don't. Chris goes to camp instead. So there you go, kids. It's up to you guys. Straight ahead, Ken's News, a bunch of other stuff today. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Raycon, best earbuds around. I wear my Raycons every single day. Still have yet to charge them after going away this weekend and 4 plane rides, bunch of other stuff. They're still rocking and rolling, and I love that. If you want the best sound quality, the best fit, the best feel, it's the everyday earbuds from Raycon. They're not going to break the bank. You get fast charging, active noise cancellation, multi-connectivity, just to name a few things. And the awareness mode is cool, too. I like it because when I go golfing, weirdly enough, I like to be able to hear outside when I hit the ball for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it gives you that. These things are awesome. They're the best around. Great color choices. You will love these. Get these, save it, extra 20% when you go to buyraycon.com/chat and get a 30-day happiness guarantee. You try them, you don't like them, send them back. Money back, no questions asked. Go to buyraycon.com/chat, buyraycon.com/chat.
A brief federal court hearing ended without resolution today in the case of Mahmoud Khalil. We'll tell you about it at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So yesterday, there was I was telling Belle, if you haven't seen it, you've got Keith Self, who is a Texas Republican, and they're holding one of these hearings, but it's not in the main chamber. It's like, it's at the kids' table, right? So you're off to the side, and you're not in the main chamber. You go through a door, and it's over here. It's like, I don't even really feel like I'm in Congress kind of thing. And I don't even know what it's for. I think it was for Moldova. But I think you had, what's her name? Sarah Mitchell. She's the trans, or Sarah Martin. She's the trans Delaware representative. And it went something like this. And I bring this up because what could have been a bit of a laughter moment, and we move on because they both got snarky with one another, turned out to be another person who had nothing to do with it to grandstand.
During a meeting.
And again, it's ridiculous.
During a meeting of the House Foreign Relations Subcommittee, Texas Representative Keith Self, the Republican chair, identifying the first openly transgender representative, Delaware's Sarah McBride, as Mr. McBride. He did it twice. Massachusetts Representative Bill Keating said he would not continue the meeting unless Self called McBride by her preferred pronoun. Self quickly adjourning the meeting. Later on social media, Self writing, quote, "It is the policy of the United States to recognize two sexes, male and female."
And that was the whole thing with Trump. And they both kind of laughed because he said, hey, Rep, Mr., McBride. And Bill Hastings like, what did you say? I said, Mr. McBride, how dare you? How dare? And it was so ridiculous because then Sarah McBride, or I didn't even know what his name was at birth, called the chair self. He said, thank you, Mrs. Chair, or whatever it was. And it should have ended there. But it's the perfect example of somebody taking something and deciding they're going to turn it into a crap show. There was no reason for it to go on outside of that. And these poor people who were dragged there to talk about, I think it was Moldova and electricity.
Oh, my.
The look on their face, because it didn't go more than 2 minutes, and they're like, do you guys even validate? Because this is stupid. This is the dumbest thing ever. And welcome to modern politics. That's I thought to myself, how embarrassing is it? And throw it. Bill Hastings he's banging his fist. I get to know you, self. I thought you were a pretty good guy. And he's like, this is the Trump administration's thing. This wasn't a drop the microphone. There's two genders, and you have to be recognized by your assigned at birth gender. So I followed the rules. And they're on the table they were sitting at, the three guys, is a table where you're like, it's okay for two, but it's a tight squeeze for three. And they just looked like, are we really doing this? Are you guys really done? We're just getting up. He just gavelled and walked away. I thought, oh my God. Welcome to this modern politics. No rhyme, no reason outside of people wanting to do what? To grandstand. And it's unfortunate because we have turned politics into a game show of insanity. There is actually a new person that's been appointed a representative in Washington State where I just thought to myself, this is idiocracy. You guys have jumped the shark. It is a trans bisexual woman with an OnlyFans account and small boobs and a big is how this is described on their Twitter and their bio on the city council's website.
Goodness.
The shark, I hope the shark eats all of us at this point. What are we doing? No wonder aliens don't want to come here. Good God. Coming up, the Department of Education. Let's do the math, shall we? Department of Education, let's do some math. The math isn't mathing, and you guys are going. Talk a bit about that. Some stuff on Ukraine, a lot of stuff to get to today, including, okay, the ball truly is in Ukraine has said, will we agree on this stuff? Let's see what happens. And that is going to be a very important question because it's a great move that's starting to happen with this. 30 days, it's a pause, not a ceasefire, but that's if Russia agrees. And now we're going to find out what kind of relationship Trump and the Pooter have. And can they semi-trust each other? We'll do that. Bunch of other stuff straight ahead. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers in Green Hills, we got some debris blocking the left two lanes of 440 westbound there at the Woodlawn Drive overpass. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. A brief federal court hearing ended without resolution today in the case of Mahmoud Khalil, a green card holder whom the Trump administration aims to deport for taking part in anti-Israel protests at Columbia University. The Trump administration claims he supports a terrorist organization, therefore the green card status is revoked. Stephen Portnoy.
Mahmoud Khalil's attorneys say the Columbia University student was taken into custody by immigration enforcement officers last Saturday. He's since been moved to a detention facility in Louisiana. Administration officials argue in his on-campus protests, Khalil advocated for Hamas. Outside the Manhattan federal courthouse, activists clamored for his release.
If they can strip the green card from a lawful permanent resident, they can do whatever they want to a citizen.
Speaking in Albany, White House border czar Tom Homan put it this way.
We consider him a national security threat.
Yeah, the judge today says Khalil has to stay in Louisiana for now. A federal investigation into sexual abuse in the Southern Baptist Convention is over. The Tennessean says it ended with only one conviction. Former Southern Baptist pastor and seminary professor Matt Queen, who pleaded guilty in Manhattan to lying to federal authorities in a case involving destruction of evidence containing information about an abuse report. The Democrats facing another challenge in their quest to retake the Senate, says Sherry Preston.
Longtime Democratic Senator Jean Shaheen from New Hampshire has announced she will not be seeking re-election. She is the third Democratic senator to recently announce retirement, making a Democratic comeback in the Senate less likely.
And in the first 50 days of the Trump administration, immigration officials claim they've arrested more than 14,000 convicted criminals, 9,800 migrants who have pending criminal charges, 1,155 suspected gang members, and 44 foreign fugitives. ICE also says it is maxed out on detention facilities with approximately 47,000 beds taken. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Beacon Capital Management, Retirement Ready Toolkit. What's going on in the world probably has some people worried, especially if you're at the retirement age and you're thinking about it, or maybe you're already in there and you're thinking to yourself, how is this going to affect my life, my money, my investments, even the plan of retirement? Well, let Beacon help you with that. First of all, they're local, which is amazing. And they're going to send you out a Retirement Ready Toolkit. It's no cost, no obligation, zero pressure whatsoever. Call 615-488-9303 today. They're going to get you out this Retirement Ready Toolkit that's going to have a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. It's really something you need to pay attention to. Call Beacon today. Find out what they can do for you. 615-488-9303 to get your free Retirement Ready Toolkit. That's 615-488-9303, or find them online at askbeaconnow.com. Welcome. I feel like this is one of those 80s montage video songs where I'm like with Rocky, we're getting ready to fight. Giant Russian, Drago.
I must.
Another 5 years, that'll be Yacht Rock.
Yacht Rock. Survivor Live. Somebody just emailed me and said, did you see the French, I guess it was the prime minister, lashed out, or somebody, Claude Murat, called the end of U.S. here. The democracy in the U.S. is gone. It's crumbling.
Yeah, that's what Elizabeth Warren just told a rally on health care.
Oh, God. She's just nuts. You're nuts, lady. Nuts! Did she do it?
Really needs to stop trying to think because she is terrible at it.
Did she do smoke signals? Oh, gosh. Did she? Oh, my Lord, Chad, you're just the worst. Education. We do have a problem with education. Can we just all admit that nobody really, minus the unions, people aren't freaking out about it. They're not. They're not freaking out about the Department of Education. First of all, because people realize, wait a minute, what do you mean 80 or 90% of my money from the state goes to education? Well, what do I care about them? Then the Department of Education. Well, they care, obviously, because it's about you. Very rarely have you seen a group that, I mean, they're talking about laying off 1,300. How many of them? That's half, almost half. That's like 2,600. Think about the punching power that the Department of Education, which in theory doesn't really do anything when it comes to instruction. That's baloney. They spend the crap out of money and they make suggestions and they send in wackadoo consultants to teach people about DEI. Oh, it's called caring learning. Woohoo! Oh, I love that. Little celebration right there. Cool, the gang. Play the hits, 40 minutes nonstop.
We got to celebrate DEI. It's required.
It is. But that's what they do. And it's the punching power is definitely above its weight class. And I'm glad that it's coming to an end. And I've said for a long time, after COVID, parents will not forget. They won't. We need to get back to basics, but we need to change the way we teach. We need to change the way that we teach in a lot of ways. First and foremost, the way we teach boys needs to change. And I say that because we've decided that we're going to abandon boys. And in doing so, we're going to feminize teaching. We're going to drug little boys. We're going to call them a nuisance. And we have made it so teaching is completely about young girls. Go to colleges. A vast majority of colleges now are girls. They're graduating at a much faster level. Boys have been left behind. This is Erica Commissar, she's CEO, talking about how bad it's gotten for boys and why things have gone sideways. Hold on here. I've pushed the wrong button.
We basically educate young boys in a way that really favors girls. From a very young age, we talk about being able to sit quietly and regulate your emotions and not be aggressive and not be impulsive. And these little boys are being diagnosed with ADHD, many of them just for being little boys. Little boys need to run around. They have a lot of physical energy. They have tons of testosterone. When you're like between 3 and 6, you have a surge of testosterone. And all you want to do is run and jump and play and be outside. And what we're doing? We're putting them in school. We marginalize them. We label them. We say they have a problem. We say that they have ADHD, they have behavioral problems. And in many of them, the stress that I talked about is the stress of making little boys be more like little girls. And that's where it starts. And so then they go into childhood. And the entire time they're being told everything in the world is your fault. Toxic masculinity is real. The everybody who's not you is a victim because of you. And the way they've set up school is awful. Man, when I was little, I was all over the place. And I needed to be drugged. And it still didn't slow me down. It is crazy, though, the way that they do this with kids. Little boys are so nutty. And when you go to Europe,
And especially a place like, say Holland, and, so the Dutch have a great way of teaching. Much like a lot of the Scandinavians, in many cases, you're going to follow your teacher all the way through your childhood. So your teacher's going to take you when you're young, and you're going to work with your teacher for a long time. And you're going to basically, as you age, you're going to age with her or him, but mostly her. But a little boy will go outside and they'll say, you need to get your wiggles out, and they'll go. And when the kid comes back in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, did you learn something? Well, yeah, I saw a caterpillar, and they'll talk about it. They let them kind of grow into it and work their way through it. We have this rigorous thing where we teach towards a test. It's shut up. It's sit in your chair. It's don't squirm. It is not built anymore for kids. It's built for young girls.
Again, the educational system favors the way girls learn, not the way boys learn. How do boys learn? Boys have attention spans for very short periods of time, and then they need lots of physical activity. So ideally, if you go to and look at the boys' schools, what do? They run the boys like running the dogs in the park. They sit for 45 minutes or half an hour, but then the boys get time off to run around. And then they'll sit another half an hour, and then they'll run around. I mean, they have like 4 recess periods a day. And so that's really better for boys.
Oh, God, recess was awesome. Wasn't it? Man, I was so good at kickball.
Well, it was gooder than having to sit there and do math.
It was better gooder, for sure. I wasn't better gooder at math or English. But I tried hard, so there you go. That's really all that matters. But she is right, and we just had Brian who texted us and says, I'm a professor, I can attest to this. They've taken out any male reading and any subject in the humanities. Also, men are told they're garbage and to change. I go punk rock and tell everyone they're individuals. It's scary out there. True. The lady talking, her name is Erica Kamsar. She's like a CEO, and she goes out and gives all these speeches. And she's got, we might do some other stuff a little bit later, and I want to juxtapose that right there and how she's talking about, boys. And so what happens when you become 15, 16, 17? And let's not forget, we've devalued fathers in the home in a major, major way. And if you don't think fathers are important, the statistic that is crazy. Mother and father in the home, the chance of a kid getting in trouble, going to jail, things like that, virtually it's minuscule. Mother in the home, it rises tremendously. Father only in the home is the same as mother and father. If you want to find out who has good relationship and with their fathers, look around you. You're going to find some people. Look, my dad was a drug addict. He was a lot of things. You know what he did? He loved me. He did the best that he could, but he was there as much as he could be. And he also showed me what not to do. My sister didn't have him as long as I did, and she's a hot mess. She is. You want to find young boys in particular who struggle with not having a father figure around and being told that they're in the world? Go to jails. I know Matt was out there doing something today with what's that organization he works with? It's a great organization. Men of Valor. It's an amazing organization, and I'm telling you, Matt, I listen, and it is the recidivism rate. We've got to stop all of that stuff, but I can almost guarantee you, a vast majority of the people that have gone through that program and who have been in jail and are in that program probably didn't have fathers in their homes. And they didn't have a strong male role model either. So you juxtapose what that lady says to somebody like AOC who's going around going, well, this right-wing toxic masculinity.
Right? How many of us have had a family member or like someone that you care about that you've lost to this kind of like Trump dark web? How many young boys do you know that get sucked up into like this Andrew Tate stuff? I don't even feel defensive about it or angry about it. I feel like really bummed that the right wing is like really dooming a lot of trying to doom a lot of little boys into unhappiness. No, they're not. You want to know what's happened? As we've just heard from other professionals out there, Sandy, of course, Belle's fiance, little boys are looking for something. They're being told they're bad.
the world is now skewed towards young women. And which, look, there's nothing wrong with it being a fair playing field, but punishing little boys for the mistakes of the grandfathers and the fathers and stuff, that's ridiculous. Because somewhere along the line, this wackadoo feminism world was for girls and women to get ahead, rather than trying to let's all, all ships rise with the tide. It was, no, you have to be put down. And so they started changing stuff and putting this in. And then you got boys who've had no father figures, and they're looking around, or they've been told because their dads become low T because they've been whipped. And they're looking around going, I don't want that. And so they're desperate for somebody. So they go to the Andrew Tates of the world who are like, yeah, you know what? Those people suck. They're stupid. Women are trash and garbage, because they go to the extremes because you were living in the extremes.
And like conditioning a lot of men into loneliness because of these ideas that they have around other people. Like, it's really sad to be like, it's genuinely sad.
But if I ask you what toxic masculinity is, what are you going to tell me? It's caring. It's not caring. It's mean. It's you're dangerous. You're this. You're that. You're strong. You scare people. You could do. Oh, you're going to give me all the crap. You take risk taking. It's like Sandra earlier. She tweeted out something or texted us when we were talking about the driverless cars, and she goes, "Well, you're a risk taker." That's men. Men inherently are risk takers. Men inherently are the ones who take the risks. That's just like a nature thing. But that's what they'll say toxic masculinity is. And when you say, well, what's good masculinity? What do they say? Well, it's caring, it's listening, it's all of those things. No, that sounds kind of like femininity. Yeah, exactly. No. I love what Peterson said, Jordan Peterson, about like violence. Should men be violent? No, but they should be capable of it. Just in case. They should be capable of it. 100%. And it's not about beating up a woman or somebody else, but they should be capable to handle business when they need to handle it across the board. Being a man is a lot of things, and it comes with that with responsibilities. And men, there's a lot of men out there that have shirked their responsibilities because society told them it's no big deal. Society has told them, it's no big deal. You don't have to be that. That's why they hunt and search for other things. Then they go to schools, colleges and whatnot, and they're told they're bad, and they get indoctrinated in this wackiness. And then, of course, you've got young women out there, and they wonder why they're single. Because it's easy to see. You're not attracted to any of the people that you helped produce with your wacky, low-T soy world. And the ones that you might be attracted to, well, you don't like their politics. Crazy world, kids. Oh, yeah. Got some of your texts coming up here. A lot of stuff still to get to. Maybe talk a little about tariffs, Ukraine. It'll be interesting to see how Trump handles Ukraine. More on the Mahmoud Khalil? Is that his name? Khalil? Or is that Superman's dad?
No, Superman's name was Kal-El.
Yeah, well, it's not him. I know that. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Lean, baby. Lean. You know what? Yo-yo dieting sucks. Look at me. I feel good. I've dropped 25 pounds. And then a month later, you're like, oh, my God, my pants, they're just, don't do it. First of all, it's horrible for you, right? It's just, it sucks. It's just the worst. I hate that feeling of like, I feel fat again. Lean's going to help you stop that. It's no prescription. It's no shots. 3 little pills a day, simple and easy. And through nutrition and science, they've put together perfect way to break the yo-yo dieting. So you go to takelean.com, use code Benson20. This is what it's all about. First, let's stop the cravings, right? Because that just, the hunger and cravings for no reason, the boredom, really. Secondly, let's make sure that our blood sugar is doing well. And finally, taking the fat and converting it to energy. That's what lean's all about. Try it now. If you've tried everything else and you're like, I don't want a yo-yo diet, I don't want the shots, I don't want to deal with prescriptions and doctors, this is what it's all about. Get 20% off Go to takelean.com. Use code Benson20. Takelean.com. Code Benson20. Big 47 going on right now. Big 47. Honor the 47 presidents. That's Donald Trump. Our good buddies who are at the Wellness Center Institute of Nashville. He wants to help you, right? 47% off right now. Spinal, non-surgical spinal decompression. And I was dancing, having fun, enjoying myself for this past weekend. You want to feel like you can get out there and do a lot. You want to feel like you can move around and groove around. You want to feel like you got your life back. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley will take care of you. No pills or spinal creams that can open up the spinal disc. This is all about new, awesome technology. Help take that pressure off your nerves and get you moving and grooving. They're going to build you out a plan, and it is incredible. You've probably been frustrated. You've probably thought, I've tried everything. It doesn't work. This works. Give them a call today. Tell them I sent you. 615-246-5009. Our good buddies over at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, want to talk to you. 47% off right now. Non-surgical spinal decompression. Call 615-246-5009 or check out painisbad.com.
Well, the first court hearing for former Columbia University student and protest organizer Mahmoud Khalil is in the books. He's going to stay put for now, but probably would like to go home. We'll give you the details at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's a 30-day interim ceasefire proposal. So this puts Ukraine and the United States firmly back on the same side after there was some concern about that Ukraine was out on its own, that the United States was somehow now siding with Russia. Diplomatically, this is a huge coup for the Ukrainians. They've also raised a whole series of issues that they feel very powerfully about and they want to be addressed in future talks.
And a lot of that is going to be little things like, I don't know, territory. Wait, that sounds big. Yeah, it's kind of big.
One thing that hasn't been mentioned at all is the territorial dispute. That goes to the very heart of this entire conflict. But it's very, very early days, and one might say that we are one step further forward than we would otherwise have been had Trump not been in the White House.
They probably hate that. But I even saw, was it Dick Durbin or somebody today that just finally had to go, ugh. Yeah, this is a good move. This is good that this is happening. Now, it doesn't mean everything is going to go rosy because we all know that it's Vladimir Putin. And you know what's interesting about this? And this is what I find hilarious. So you've got people who are actively rooting. You could see it, that Vladimir Putin does a Vladimir Putin, that he doesn't agree on a lot of this stuff, that he turns, twists, and gets one over on the likes of Trump and Marco Rubio, because they want to be able to say, ha, I told you you're an idiot and you're stupid. I have never seen, like yesterday with the whole Tesla thing. You got people out there going, can't believe he's doing that. People rooting. The Democrats posted ugly-ass truck for the Cybertruck, which, look, it isn't the prettiest. It's weird. We can all agree with that. It looks like something you drew in 5th grade. But that's an American car company, and that's where you're going? You have people rooting against their own best interests because they don't want the guy in the White House to be successful. And it sucks that we're at this place because, let's be real, Republicans, you wish the same on Biden. We want the other side to fail so our team can win. I thought my team was the USA. I didn't know we had differing, agendas. Well, yeah, I want to be successful when my party's in power, not when somebody else's party's in power. Ridiculous. They're rooting against it. CNN had this big thing of, now Trump's going to get a real lesson in, from Vladimir Putin in diplomacy. You're like, shut up, Wolf Blitzer, you midget. He is so tiny. You're not even a wolf. Maybe a fox.
6. That was your 6th midget. At 10, you're in trouble.
Oh, look at that. That's right. I did say midget. Right. Oh, God, a lot of times I say midget. It's probably not good. The M word. Missing the show, grab the podcast. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Well, that first court hearing for former Columbia University and protest organizer, university student and protest organizer Mahmoud Khalil is in the books. The judge ordered him to stay in jail in Louisiana for now. That's where ICE transferred Khalil after his arrest last weekend. The Trump administration claiming Khalil's green card is void because he organized what he called pro-Palestine rallies, what the Trump administration calls pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, and anti-Semitic, and led to harassment of Jewish students. Speaking of Gaza, here's Jordana Miller.
President Trump's Mideast envoy joining day 2 of the Gaza ceasefire talks in Doha. Steve Witkoff reportedly working to extend the ceasefire for another 60 days. Hamas would free at least 10 living hostages, including American Edan Alexander. Israel would release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners and lift its ban on humanitarian aid to Gaza. Witkoff's biggest challenge will be getting Hamas on board.
Back in our nation's capital. Democrats losing another U.S. senator, longtime Senator Jeannie Shaheen from New Hampshire.
After careful consideration, I'm announcing that I have made the difficult decision not to seek re-election to the Senate in 2026. It's just time.
She's the third Democratic senator to recently announce retirement, making a Democratic comeback in the Senate, less likely. Inflation is cooling off. Jim Ryan breaks down some of today's report.
The Labor Department's Consumer Price Index rose 0.2% on a seasonally adjusted basis in February. That's well below what analysts were expecting and less than half the rate of January. Over the past 12 months, the All Items Index increased by 2.8%, also below expectations.
Federal investigation into sexual abuse in the Southern Baptist Convention is over. The Tennessean says it ended with only one conviction, former Southern Baptist pastor and seminary professor Matt Queen, who pleaded guilty in Manhattan to lying to federal authorities. Queen's case involved destruction of evidence containing information about an abuse report. And an Indiana woman trapped for nearly 1 week inside her wrecked car. Her father says it's a miracle she was pulled out alive. Lionel Moise with details.
41-year-old Brianna Castle was on the way to visit a friend when she fell asleep at the wheel. Her father says she stayed alive by dipping her sweatshirt into the water in that ditch.
And she was using her hoodie and wringing it to get a drink of water, trying to survive. And she was in excruciating pain.
6 long days passed until a man working for a drainage company spotted her car and called his boss, who happens to be the fire chief.
Incredible. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
That's right, baby. A little thunderstruck. Not right now. Gorgeous outside. What is our high going to be today? 80 something?
80. It's supposed to be 80.
Oh, God. Think about how gorgeous that is outside. People walking their dogs, right? You know, see that outside without freezing. The dogs are just like, this is great. You know, you got people outside running, right? In their little outfits. How you guys doing? Look at me run, It's awesome. Not me. I'm in shorts, and I'm not running anywhere unless I'm being chased. And even at that point, I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, you know what? It's better if I just try to fight here. Because you're going to catch me, and then I'll be winded.
Running away.
Because if you catch me and I'm winded, that's not going to do me any good. My best chance is now.
Right. Exactly.
So Mahmoud Khalil is in jail for now. Well, he's not going anywhere. And he wants to go back to New Jersey. And I don't know if that's going to happen. That's the feller. And it's funny because people say he's a kid. He's not a kid. He's 30-something. He's a graduate student, or was, of Columbia. Do you know how much it costs to go to Columbia? If you did a 4-year degree and you paid everything, $359,000.
Wow.
Now, most people only pay about $20,000 or so, depending on where you fall in the income scale. But still, it's $100,000, 100 G's. These people hate America. These people hate the West. They whine, they bitch, they moan. Oh my God, the world is evil. America's evil. You don't mind if I come to your $1 million school, do you? And then I'm thinking, okay, what exactly are you going to school for if you hate the West and you hate capitalism? What exactly are you hoping to do? What are you hoping to get out of school? I have no idea. And again, yeah, exactly. Can't tell you anything. You know what? I always look at college, especially for a lot of these kids nowadays. It's just an extension of their childhood. It's a little longer wait to delay adulthood. It is. I'd rather give a kid $15,000 and say, go blow it in Vegas or do whatever you need to do, get it out of your system and go get a job. Just insane. But this, and I told you guys, this battle was going to be in court, and that's good. And the fact that they didn't move him right away is, I think, interesting. So he's in Louisiana, and I don't think they're waterboarding him. Some people said that yesterday. I think they're waterboarding him. I think that's a bit much. I don't think they are.
They'd have to send him to a black ops site to do that.
Yeah, you'd have to go to Gitmo. You'd have to go to some place that doesn't exist. So, and this is going to, I think he was supposed to have another hearing anyways on the 21st. And I don't know if that was another immigration hearing or something before this, but he's not going anywhere. And I saw some of the stuff. Now, you've got to make sure that you can not pin it. It's not about pinning it. Making sure that the evidence is there. But the reason it's important for the due process and the reason it's important that you do it in front of everybody is because when you expose the insanity of the college kids, when you expose the insanity of the lunacy that goes on all these campuses, when you show you guys have allowed these kids to run wild, to essentially be the flea that wagged the tail that wagged the dog, and now you're paying the price for it. You are. And you should. Speaking of paying the price, everybody, USAID, which oddly enough still got refunded for the rest of the year due to the continuing resolution, well, they went to town on stuff they had at a building here in the U.S. Federal paperwork, I'm assuming, that they were told, burn, burn, burn after you shred, or both.
NBC News is reporting this. USAID staff is being told to shred and burn all their classified documents. Quote, the U.S. Agency for International Development is instructing its staff in Washington to shred and burn documents, according to an email obtained by NBC News. The document destruction was set to take place Tuesday, according to an email from Erica Carr, the agency's acting executive secretary. Quote, shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break, Carr wrote. I worked in government for almost a decade. I've never heard of so much shredding being required that you would know ahead of time that, quote, the shredder would become unavailable or need a break. What is that about?
That is Nicole Wallace. I will tell you this right now. she was the one who went on TV every weekend and was like, of course there's weapons of mass destruction. Of course, like all of these people, these people have lied to their teeth for years. And the fact that they're even like, this feels like it's a bridge too far. So here's the NBC reporter who said he got the email. And if you don't think it's true, this is MSNBC and an NBC reporter. The New York Times is reporting this. Why would you shred stuff if USAID is an altruistic thing, right? Like, so Bell and I are part of this altruistic thing where we are going over to, some faraway land to put up nets for mosquitoes and to stop malaria from spreading. And we're going to have paperwork and we're going to give it back to them. And like, we can't let the Trump people see this. Oh, wait, what? No.
Right. I actually this morning I got a message from somebody who left USAID earlier this year and passed along this email to me. And my response is naturally, is this standard operating procedure? And this individual said no, that they had never heard about burning or shredding of federal records at USAID. But then again, this individual told me they've never heard of the entire agency being gutted and their headquarters at the Ronald Reagan building being shut down. When are documents, burned by the State Department or USAID? Typically at an embassy when it is about to be overtaken, Marines have the authorization as a means of ensuring that classified records and personnel data do not get in the hands of individuals who are seen as threats. They do go and burn documents, but that's not what this situation is here.
No, and if you're saying that Trump is the enemy, first of all, you're an absolute clown. Secondly, you're doing it because I can surmise at this point in time, because you've given me no other reason but to think there's a bunch of stuff in there you don't want everybody to see because there's a bunch of receipts. And not all of it is the kind of stuff. Look, we already know the CIA has used this. And I don't think, the funny thing is most Democrats, they have no problem with the fact that the CIA has used funds and have used these agencies that are supposed to be altruistic to help overthrow governments and install puppet governments that are kind to the United States of America and to the West. You have no problem with that. But you do have a problem with the fact that maybe, a congressman's wife sits on a board somewhere that got $40 million to study butterflies and whether or not they're transgender. Which maybe they are. I don't know. But if you are destroying something, you don't want people to see it. How would you take this if this were the Epstein files, which everybody's still waiting for? I think people would be like, well, you're destroying stuff. You don't want people to see it because there's a reason. It's the same thing here. It's what's in those things and the fact that everybody's reporting it, but nobody seems to be thinking, it's a big deal. Shows you exactly why these kind of things are gone, and it's good. Good riddance. And I'm not saying we don't help. I'm not saying that we don't push programs that help, stem the flow of HIV and help people live. I'm not saying we stop the programs that actually work and go over there and help people. I'm not saying we don't do that, because the goodwill, especially in places where we are going to need some goodwill with the reach and the tentacles of China getting into everything, that's a good thing. But the rest of the crap, that's a hard pass. And this shows, and I bet you a lot of Republicans are like, because if you think, like Burchett said, it's not just, Tim Burchett said, it's not just Democrats that love to spend. Everybody loves to spend when it's not their money and they feel they can get away with it. Everybody does. We move from there to Ireland. If you guys haven't heard, the one and only Rosie O'Donnell, the star of the Flintstones, has moved.
Well, hey, everybody. It's me, Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones. And I'm here in Ireland. Moved here on January 15th. And it's been pretty wonderful. And when, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back.
We don't want you back. And I say that not because a First of all, if people were really stealing all your rights and you wanted to run away, I don't think anybody'd have a problem with this. Okay? And why the Flintstones? Really? You did League of Your Own. If you're going to even talk about a movie, League of Your Own was a better movie. I enjoyed League of Your Own.
Well, she couldn't call herself the star of that.
She wasn't the star of the Flintstones.
She was one of the four main characters, though.
I think Kazoo was as well. Remember Kazoo? Never figured that out. You guys remember Kazoo?
Yeah, the little alien.
The alien. Like, so wait a minute. Somewhere in the future, but also back in time, there was an alien. So she went. And this is the way I look at it. If you want to flee, this reminds me of somebody who is dating somebody or married to somebody, and they're not happy with the way life is right now. So they bounce and they get a divorce or whatever. They're on to somebody new, greener pastures. And then all of a sudden, that person makes it big or wins the lottery. And then people are like, hey, remember me? Remember, it's good to see that you got your life together. You didn't want to stay here and fight for the rights of the people that you think are going to be hurt. You didn't want to stay here and say, this is my country. I love it. I'm not going to leave it for this. You bounced, and you know that it is not. Nobody's stealing your rights. Nobody's doing that. You didn't want to stay for that. Then if you don't want to be around people in the quote unquote bad times, the dark times, why should anybody want you to come back in the good times? That seems like somebody who's a bandwagoner if I've ever seen one. And she bandwagoned it. And look, there's worse places to go. And she's got $80 million. And her grandparents are from Ireland. And Ireland, by the way, if you've got grandparents, a little side note here, they're desperate for people in Ireland. If you have grandparents, even one, and you can show that, they'll give you citizenship fast. So just putting it out there. It's always nice to have a second passport. Not going to lie. You know why? Because if you go to certain places, it's just easier to travel without a visa. I'm just throwing that out there. It's nothing to do with America. And I love Ireland.
It's been heartbreaking to see what's happening politically and hard for me personally as well. The personal is political, as we all know.
But you didn't want to stay and fight the fight. That right there is the thing. If you don't want to stay and fight the fight, again, if things go the way you want them now, why should people welcome you back? I don't get it. I don't. Because, I hear from the left all the time about how we're going to resist, we're going to fight, we're going to do it. You didn't want to fight the fight of what you thought was an oppressive government because it's so oppressive. Oh, God. Even today I went outside and it was 80 degrees and I'm like, oh, it's so oppressive out here. Oh, why should anybody want you back? But at least you kept your part of the bargain and you said you were going to leave. You did, and you did it. Coming up, a lot of good stuff to get to. We've got some immigration news, which is always entertaining. More on Mahmoud Khalil. God, I don't know. I say his name different every time. And I've said it 1,000 times today. But he is not being escorted out of the country. He had his first court date, and they said, you're not going anywhere. Not right now. Talk a little bit about that as well. Check out the podcast. Grab it when you can because it's great. Like the Facebook. Like the YouTube. Remember, Chris is trying to get a whole bunch of likes and drive up the subscription on YouTube. If we drive it up even higher, instead of his kids going on vacation, we're going to just send Chris.
He'll be gone for a week of vacation Bible school.
There you go. That's where he's going, vacation Bible school. He's going to come back and indoctrinate us all. I'm kidding. I'm a Christian too. Settle down. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Bulwark Capital, with the markets the way they are, the uncertainty in what's happening out there, do you feel like, I need to figure something out? Whether you're just starting to invest, whether you're thinking as you get closer to retirement, or whether you're a person who's like, look, you know what? I need somebody to help me build out where I want to go. My buddies over at Bulwark are going to help you. Bulwark Capital is incredible. First, they're doing a big webinar, and it's taking place at 5:30 next Thursday. It doesn't cost you anything but about 45 minutes or so of your time. They're going to show you everything they're about. Lowering risk, lowering costs, lowering volatility, and doing everything to give you the most upside potential by actively managing your account. It is a smart way to help yourself and your future. Sign up today. Doesn't cost you anything. Go to knowyourriskradio.com. That is KNOW, yourriskradio.com. Or call 866-779-RISK today to sign up. Watch what they can do for you. It is the first 100 Days webinar with my buddy Zach Abraham next Thursday, 5:30. Check it out. KnowYourRiskRadio.com. Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Investments involve risk, not a guarantee. Past performance not guarantee future results. Trek 25137.
All right, drivers, got a problem with a disabled vehicle. TDOT says it is blocking the way 40 westbound after Fessler's Lane. And then on the South Loop, 40 eastbound near 4th Avenue, police are reporting an accident. Also, a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder blocking 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike. We've got the latest on his first court appearance, Mahmoud Khalil, and where he's going to be staying for the time being while the Trump administration tries to deport him. Coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I got somebody just sent me this article. I saw it earlier. Amazon forests failed, so they took down a bunch of the Amazon forests. You guys want to know why? Climate summit, and they needed to build a road. 4-lane highway cutting through tens of thousands of acres to protect Amazon rainforest is being built for the COP30 climate summit in the Brazilian city of Belém. It will ease traffic, which will host more than 50,000 people. Let me say this. Why? Do you guys not have Zoom? I mean,
you can't eat the shrimp platter over Zoom.
Exactly. It's you know what? It's all about that. That's what it is. It's about going somewhere. They're all going to fly there in their private jets, right? They're not all. It's not like they're going to go. Okay, guys, everybody's going to take a boat somewhere. At least I can say Greta Thunberg took a boat. Remember that when she took a boat?
Yeah.
So she could come over and scold us. How dare you? How dare you ruin my childhood? I don't even know you. And judging by your attitude, your childhood was really whiny. But this is the perfect example of the stupidity of modern politics and culture that pushes stuff that's so ridiculous. So you guys are going to destroy. And the way they'll say is, well, by destroying it this way, it'll make the ease of the cars getting in and out so much better that it won't burn as much. You know what else would have done that? Zoom. Or they got rid of Zoom? Is it who has Zoom that they get rid of?
They got rid of Skype.
Yeah, Skype. Okay, Skype. You know, you could do Restream, right? Everybody could get together. You guys could all have a big game of, whoa, look at us.
Then how are they supposed to break bread and, sit around the bar and talk about what they've got going on in their home states and countries?
Well, they can't. Well, that's it too, right? Like, because they're all going to Brazil. They're not going somewhere in the winter. You notice that?
Yeah, they're going to party.
Yeah, well, of course. Brazil's a great place to do it.
Beautiful. Gorgeous. There, man.
That's the girl from Ipanema, baby. One person said everything was destroyed. Our harvest has been cut down. We no longer have an income. Hey, we're doing this for you, okay?
Little appreciation here.
That is, thank you for making me laugh. Thank you so much for making me laugh. Meanwhile, Marco Rubio on Mr. Khalil.
When you come to the United States as a visitor, which is what a visa is, which is how this individual entered this country, on a visitor's visa, okay? You are here as a visitor. We can deny you that visa. We can deny you that if you tell us when you apply, hi, I'm trying to get into the United States on a student visa. I am a big supporter of Hamas, a murderous, barbaric group that kidnaps children, that rapes teenage girls.
By the way, that's probably not going to help you on your application.
Yeah. Might want to gloss over that.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys this. I'm totally into Hamas killing and raping and destroying people. Where do I put that on the application?
Like, I'm in the bag for ISIS.
That takes hostages, that allows them to die in captivity, that returns more bodies than live hostages. If you tell us that you are in favor of a group like this, and if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities, I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa. I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out.
Yeah. And the due process is important, and doing it the way they're doing it and having the opportunity as a two-pronged attack. One, to escort him out of here and to show the insanity of the things he supported. And you've got to show those things. Let's be real. I'm not one of these people that jumps to conclusion. A lot of people do. You got to show these things. And I don't think it's going to be hard. It may not be everything that people say, but you've got to show these things. And the second thing is exposing the chaos and the craziness on campus that I think will have a big effect on not only the schools themselves and how they react in the future, which some of them are starting to do, but also a lot of parents and students who are like, no, this isn't happening anymore. Oh, my Lord. So much more to get to today. Reach out to us. You can text the program. Bell, tell them how they can text the program.
615-737-9986.
Yes, and coming up, we'll tell you how we also can destroy the Amazon rainforest for our big helicopter convention where we dump DDT everywhere. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
$1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. A federal judge says former Columbia University student Mahmoud Khalil must stay in a Louisiana detention facility for now. The Trump administration wants to deport Khalil, claiming his green card is void because he supported terrorism for leading pro-Palestinian protests on campus last year that led to harassment of Jewish students. Here's border czar Tom Homan talking about the case in Albany, New York today.
We consider him a national security threat. When you're on campus and they say, and I hear freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. Can you stay in a movie theater and yell fire? Can you slander?
Critics say Khalil's case sets a concerning precedent, which violates his First Amendment rights to free speech. Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who backed off his province's 25% tariff on electricity exported to the U.S. after President Trump threatened to double the steel and aluminum tariff, wants to talk now.
Consumer confidence is down, inflation's going up, and there's a stall on investment in both countries. It's hurting both countries. Let's sit down and negotiate.
Well, inflation actually cooling off here in America.
Americans last month were paying 2.8% more for just about everything than they were in February of 2024. After days of heavy losses, a CPI report showing a decelerating rate of inflation pushed the stock market higher.
That is Jim Ryan reporting. Well, Democrats facing another challenge in their quest to retake the Senate. Longtime Democratic Senator Jeannie Shaheen from New Hampshire announcing she's not going to seek re-election.
There are urgent challenges ahead, both here at home and around the world. And while I'm not seeking re-election, believe me, I am not retiring.
She's the third Democratic senator to recently announce retirement, making a Democratic comeback in the Senate less likely. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken.
You guys ready for capital punishment talk? It's a good part of the subject. After we destroy the climate, we go capital punishment. And I will tell you this, Bell and I, after you hear this, Bell and I have come up with the way to do it.
Attorneys for the state of Louisiana and for death row inmate Lonnie Hoffman Jr. will make their arguments before the Court of Appeals, and then
whoever loses is going to ask the U.S. Supreme Court to weigh in.
Loyola law professor Dan Ciolino says it's not a slam dunk for prosecutors.
I don't think this is something that's going to be easy for the state to prevail.
And may extend Lonnie Hoffman's life for months or years.
He wants nitrous hypoxia kind of thing, nitro hypoxia. We've been trying to figure out. See, Bell and I, we sit around and we think of real things here. Ken, I think you'd enjoy this. We came up with the best way to execute people. Gas, stove, hibachi, all the food they can barbecue. You make the room completely airtight. They cook their own last meal and eventually fade away with, just like, we thought the carbon monoxide poisoning killed them. It's the perfect way to do it.
Then you flood the chamber with hydrogen and incinerate their body.
There you go. I mean, this is but they're cooking their own meals. They're keeping their mind off of it, right? It's not so, it could be 5 minutes. It could be an hour. They go to sleep. They've made themselves a little something. I know they the
nice little end of life snack.
That's it, right? Rather than going out and buying them something, put them to, we're not trying to be mean. We're trying to come up with a way, because there's always these goofy, you can't because we can't get the drug, or the drug's expired. Well, what's going to happen to them? Out of curiosity.
So basically, nitrous hypoxia is just when it's like the same nitrous they use at the dentist, except it's unregulated to the point where you inhale so much of it that it displaces the oxygen you need.
Yeah, and we're always trying to figure out, okay, how do we do this or how do we do that? And I am not a big fan of capital punishment, mostly because it's a waste of money and time, and a vast majority of states, those people die in custody and cost God knows how much money, and it's not the deterrent that people want. It's not like the Old West, right? You get convicted on a Wednesday, and by Friday morning, they put you to death. That being said, if you're going to do it, there you go. Right? Like, we're trying to come up with I know they executed somebody by firing squad, and it's not the head. Somebody's like, they shot him. No, they shoot him in the heart.
Yeah.
There's one area where, I don't know if it was Utah or wherever, like where you almost get inside this machine and it does it rather than people.
It's a Futurama suicide pod?
Something like that, right? Which would also be something neat, right? Just somebody go to sleep. Nowadays, most of them die from old age. How'd he die? COPD? Well, that's a long execution. So we're helpers, all right? We're looking, just like we destroyed most of the rainforest so people could drive on it with their G-Wagons. And I wonder if they're going to have Teslas there, or do they get rid of all the Teslas?
No, or he's up on Trump's side now, so no Teslas.
No Teslas for you. Speaking of Donald Trump, the easiest thing that he could fix was always going to be not immigration when it came to this side of the border. That's always going to be a tough fix. We're already out of beds. You heard Ken talk about it earlier. They're already exhausted every bed they have. And remember, they can only stay in custody for so long, and that's been one of the issues. There's not enough beds, and there's not enough immigration judges. And it takes a long time sometimes that's why some of these people that have come here, they end up in places like Florida and New York, where their date for a hearing may not be until 2032 or something. But knowing what you could do when it comes to the border was always going to be the first. You have to stem the tide before you can figure out how to bail out, right? So like we've got the ship is taken on water. Find out where it's taken on water. Let's plug that. Then we can deal with the rest of the stuff. And lo and behold, he's doing that. Oh, baby, is he doing that?
Attorneys for the state of
migrants from.
Now, I want you guys to listen to this. So if you guys know what the Darien Gap is, it's essentially, think of the Central America. It's like there's an area that everybody kind of comes through. And it was flooded with South Americans, people moving from Central America, coming down in droves. The drop, huge.
The last time I was physically in the Darien Gap, which was during the peak of immigration during Joe Biden's presidency, there was something like 1,000 migrants crossing per day. Now, we saw 400 in an entire month. It's a 99% drop. And the reason is because these migrants know that when they get to the United States, if they make it that far, given the extra enforcement that's been put up by countries along the way from President Trump's prodding, they are not going to be allowed into the United States.
They understand that. And as they go on to say, you may hate him, you may like him, whatever, you can't dispute the numbers, and it's working.
Whether you are a fan of President Trump's immigration policies or you are not a fan of his policies, if his stated goal was to stop migrants from coming, especially from Venezuela and other countries in South America, up towards the United States, they're working. It is directly as a result of President Trump's policies that the number of migrants has dropped so starkly.
And we're talking massive amounts. The drop is tremendous. Now, the people that have come in contact with Border Patrol, I was talking to my buddy the other day, he said they explained to us how many people are on the other side, and they're not quite sure what to do because the cartels are trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? Because these people have paid us to get them here, and we're not refunding their money. But we can't just abandon them because then people are going to stop paying us, and they're a source of income that is way bigger than people realize. So you don't want that to get to other people that, hey, don't pay these people. They're not going to get you across. And then Mexico is going, okay, we can't have these people here. And most people, and several people texted me the other day on this, most people would rather be broke in their own country if they can't have the stuff here with no possibilities than facing those realities here. And they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we maneuver this? How do we maneuver this entire situation when it comes to immigration? Should they stay? Should they go? They don't know. And going home, when you start cutting certain things off, going home is a big deal. Plus, a lot of these people think, you know what, I'll go home. We'll see what happens in the next year or two. I can always come back if things change. And some may have even applied, and this happens, and they haven't got the call for the lottery yet, and they're still waiting around for some of that stuff. They've come down here anyways, and they thought, well, if I get caught down here, I'm in serious trouble. So I'll self-deport and see what happens.
Migrants know that there's really no effective pathway for them to get into the United States. And so rather than risk immediate deportation upon trying to claim asylum in between U.S. ports of entry, they're either staying put here in Mexico, or we've seen a phenomenon called reverse migration. There's thousands of people that we know, according to the Panamanian government, that have entered Panama heading south. And that's people who have decided to give up their dream of the United States and go home.
What? Give up the dream? No, they're not. The dream is on pause for now. Because their goal is obviously still to be here. They're willing to risk it all. But they also know getting caught nowadays is a bigger risk than ever before. And even if you get caught and they re-release you because they don't have the beds in the, for you, and you're not going to be able to see a judge, that you get put on a list, and that list bars you essentially, should you go in front of a judge, of returning here, sometimes for 5 years, sometimes for 10 years. So if you got the call eventually that you got the lottery win, and sorry, you can't come.
These migrants know that when they get to the United States, if they make it that far, given the extra enforcement that's been put up by countries along the way from President Trump's prodding, they are not going to be allowed into the United States. There is no way effectively to claim asylum in the United States, and migrants know that. And so as a result, they're choosing to either stay home or stay put where they are if their journeys have already begun.
Man, it's got to suck. They tried to race here, and they didn't quite make it. Urgh. I do not blame people for coming here. If you were next door to the Golden Goose and your kids were starting, you do everything to get a bit of what the Golden Goose is laying. Because you'd be foolish not to. But new sheriff, and the new sheriff says, no, it isn't happening. It's not going to happen. And that's a smart thing. That's a good thing. Those are the things that we want. Now, what to do with everybody else that is here, and that is going to take a while to sort out because the manpower still isn't there, and the beds. And I know somebody just texted in and said, you know what, we just send it back. Again, there are due process and certain things that you have to do. And so because of that, you just don't send them back. You go through the process, and that process then really limits their opportunity of coming back. And I'm not even talking about the people that are awful, the worst first, as we've talked about. Mahmoud Khalil is obviously having some issues. He is the cat, if you will. That's not even fair to cats because we love cats. My cat's awesome. He's a dentist. That's what he does during the day. Bell's laughing. He is. You know that, Bell. He tried to fix your teeth.
That's just, it's like such a slam, but nobody likes it. I don't care, even if you're not afraid of the dentist, you don't like going to the dentist.
You don't, but that's why he's so good. He's just great with people, with kids, with other cats. What is going to happen with this guy? The attorneys are saying we don't have enough time with him. Is he going to be sent home? He's not going home right now. And by home, I don't mean Syria. And by home, I mean, at least at this moment in time, what they're saying is New Jersey, which is, where he was.
His attorneys are going to be filing an amended petition as soon as tonight. But I'm curious if a new hearing is going to be scheduled where they can actually make their arguments on the merits of the case. Again, they're saying this was an unlawful arrest. They need to present that argument in court. So I assume that there's going to be a hearing set.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there was supposed to be one on the 21st, from what I understand, but I don't know if that was related to this. I think that was already planned, and that might have been an immigration thing, but he's not getting out, at least not right this second. And the thought, and obviously they're not sending him home right this second. So the sitting and waiting is, of course, rabble-rousing the crowds out there who've turned him into a martyr because they love that stuff, right? They just, David Hogg out there the other day.
Luigi's not going to like that.
No. But Luigi, man. You think they'll put him together? Sam Bankman-Fried? Puffy?
They're all three. They're all three in the common area playing cards.
Snap, crackle, idiot. I mean, can you believe that? And Puffy's in there too, right?
Yes,
Puff
he
Daddy?
is. He is.
Woo! It's all happening there, kids. Oh, man. So much stuff still to squeeze into. We do a lot. That's why we do. People go, why don't you take calls? That's why we say text the program, or you can tweet at us at Chad Benson Show. I go through stuff fast. We have a lot of fun. We try to make people laugh. We talk about our cats and the fact that my cat's a dentist, which was weird, but he's a good one. And I'll tell you that. So if you ever need to know, he's a damn good dentist. It's the Chad Benson Show. So we're talking 99.7. Rough Greens, RUFFgreens.com. Go there, use my code CHAD. When you do, they're going to send you out a $20 Jumpstart bag of Rough Greens for free. It's a supplement that you put on top of your dog's food. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. It is one scoop on top of their food, and watch what happens. There's a 90-day challenge. They're telling people, try this for 90 days. I know what it's done for my dogs. It is incredible. The first 30 days, you're going to see increased energy, and you're going to see their coat shinier. By day 60, immune system's going to be stronger. Energy levels up, yes. And I love this part. It is not only is their coat going to be shinier, it's not going to be shedding everywhere. And when you get to the point where day 90 comes, it's like a whole new dog. Increased energy levels, still there. You're going to see a healthier dog. Heart health is going to be up. Immune system and mobility. It's incredible. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping and take the 90-day challenge with Rough Greens. You're going to love it. Your dogs are going to love it. You'll love what it does for your vet bill, which is minimize it. Go to roughgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Roughgreens.com, code CHAD.
All right, drivers, it's not even time to go home yet. But we've got crashes out there. 40 eastbound near 4th Avenue on the South Loop, and then a disabled vehicle blocking 40 westbound after Fessler's Lane. A crash over at the Eastern Split going eastbound, and then a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. You got to get over for them. That's going to be 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike. Mahmoud Khalil staying in jail for now. This story and more at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No tacos for you. What? Yeah, another crazy person upset about Trump telling everybody, hey, you know what? If you don't like people being here from Mexico, you want to close the border? No tacos.
God, if I ever see a MAGA person in a Mexican restaurant, I will literally start a revolution right there. Because you cannot tell me that you voted for people who, whether they are citizens or not, to get deported out of this country to Mexico, and also voted for tariffs against Mexico, where we get a large majority of our produce, especially avocados, you can't enjoy Mexican restaurants if you voted that way.
Did the idiot see what his numbers were with Latinos?
Yeah. No. I mean, like, oh my God, you guys can't even go there and have a taco.
No guacamole for you.
Who cares? I hate guacamole. So I'm fine with it.
Evil man.
I hate guacamole, and you're an idiot. She's not done, though. She's got a lot to say.
You cannot go with your little girly pops and get chips and queso and margaritas and be like, this and girl time. Like, no. You don't get to do that. You lost that right to do that. You do not get to enjoy Mexican food, Mexican culture, anything related to Mexico you voted for Donald Trump. If you voted for Donald Trump, you do not get to enjoy an all-inclusive resort in Tulum or Cancun or anywhere else in Mexico.
And people in Mexico are like, settle down. I don't know who you are, white lady. You better start it.
Stop threatening our tourist dollars.
My buddy bought a house down there, and he went down for COVID, and there was nobody at the resorts. And he would say that these people are starving. I mean, they've got nothing. They're begging people to come back there.
Absolutely, man.
And she's like, well, you know what? You can't go. Are we really going to? Is this where we're going to now? Okay, fine. So what are we going to say now? All right, well, you guys can't fly on airplanes because we invented it. Well, that's not very nice. All right. So none of that for you. This is the dumbest thing ever. And I love it when and again, who is it? It's white women. You know who you are.
I think Mexico should be able to pull and see, how did you vote? And if you voted for Donald Trump, you are not allowed in their country, because you do not get to benefit off of Mexican culture and Mexican experiences, including Mexican travel and vacations, when you voted for Donald Trump. You don't. You can't vote against people and a culture that you want to take advantage of because you're a rich white person. No, it's not how it works.
Mm-hmm. You know how it works? They want you to come there and spend your money. That's how it works.
Was her name Karen?
It should be. It's probably Shelby or something. Like, oh my God. You can't come here and just do stuff like that, white people. These people don't want you here, right, people? Okay. Coming up, third hour, we'll have some fun stuff. I can talk education and maybe more execution. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. A federal judge in New York today says former Columbia University student and anti-Israel protest organizer Mahmoud Khalil must stay in a detention center in Louisiana for now. Today was the first hearing since his arrest by ICE last weekend. The judge blocking the Trump administration from deporting Khalil over what Secretary of State Marco Rubio says was a clear threat to national security.
This is not about free speech. This is about people that don't have a right to be in the United States to begin with. No one has a right to a student visa. No one has a right to a green card, by the way.
So what's next, Olivia Rubin?
His attorneys are going to be filing an amended petition as soon as tonight. But I'm curious if a new hearing is going to be scheduled where they can actually make their arguments on the merits of the case. Again, they're saying this was an unlawful arrest. They need to present that argument in court. So I assume that there's going to be a hearing set.
Speaking of deportation, in his first 50 days in office, immigration officials claim under President Trump they've arrested over 14,000 convicted criminals, 9,800 migrants who have pending criminal charges, 1,155 suspected gang members, and 44 foreign fugitives. ICE also says it is maxed out on detention facilities with approximately 47,000 beds taken. President Trump telling reporters today the Department of Education job cuts are necessary.
When we cut, we want to cut, but we want to cut the people that aren't working or not doing a good job. We're keeping the best people, and Linda McMahon is a real professional.
Now, the administration says critical programs like Pell Grants and student loans will not be affected. What about Ukraine and Russia ceasefire?
Hopefully we can get a ceasefire from Russia, and if we do, I think that would be 80% of the way to getting this horrible bloodbath finished. It's a bloodbath.
James Logman at the Foreign Desk.
Until now, Vladimir Putin says he doesn't want a ceasefire. We know he's gone on record as saying he only wants a deal which sees him keep the 20% of the Ukrainian territory he's currently occupying and more. In his eyes, there's still more of Ukraine that he wants.
Right now in California, Governor Gavin Newsom talking about his role in the possible release of the Menendez brothers who murdered their parents in 1989. Here's Alex Stone.
Governor Gavin Newsom on his podcast called This is Gavin Newsom says a new LA County DA coming out this week against the release of the Menendez brothers will have no impact on possible clemency for them from Newsom. He says there is now a date for the brothers to have a parole board hearing.
On June 13th, both Lyle and Eric Menendez independently will have their final hearing.
After the Menendez brothers have that parole board hearing, a report on their risk, if released, will be given to Newsom and the court.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
So a lot of people not thrilled, if you guys missed, the girl that doesn't want people to eat tacos and avocados from Mexico. I'm amazed that people go to the interwebs with stupid. And by the way, I love it because I no longer run and see what I go right to. I almost trip over myself getting to the comments because the comments are the best thing. Comments in all these things are the best things. Doesn't matter what it is, right? If you ever read the comments on just about anything, I could say something horrible, but I'm not going to. But the comments are the best. Like I see Ken in there.
I bet you there are memes of people in MAGA hats eating tacos underneath.
All day. There's a guy that I think is it Ari? God, what's his name? He goes to one of the college campuses Palestine insanity, and he wears a sombrero and a mustache.
Yeah.
And he's got he's got the full getup. He's trying to look like he's from Mexico in the 1800s.
Right.
Like, I'm here for Mexico. It's me, Speedy Gonzalez kind of thing. And so he goes, and all of these students are like, "Oh my God, you're so offensive!" Blah 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 blah. Then he goes to Alvera Street. If you don't know what Alvera Street is, in Southern California, Alvera Street is basically like Mexico. It's Little Mexico. It's incredible. You go there, you can buy all kinds of great stuff. The food's amazing. It is awesome. He goes there and he's like, "Is this offensive?" And the guys are like, first of all, they're all day drinking, which is phenomenal. Secondly, they're like, "No, this is great." And he's sitting there eating tacos, laughing with them. They're not offended. You know what offends people? My grandfather, God rest his soul, passed away a few years ago. Born and raised in Mexico. His English, at best, even at the high point of his life, was broken. My name, for many years when I was a kid, I thought was Shad.
Yeah.
Hey, Shad.
Yeah.
I'm like, me, right? He was so furious by all of this lunacy of these people always trying to protect, the feelings, this, that, and the other. And he would say the same thing. It's these guilty white people. They're fine. Leave them alone. They're okay with it. They don't get offended as easily as you think. They don't really get offended until they go to school, college. Then everybody starts to get offended. So a lot of you chiming in on that, and it is hilarious. I mean, I've got a bunch of other stuff, but they don't want you here. When it's like they're like, no, they want you here. Right? They're not advertising come to Cabo in other parts of Mexico. It's come to Cabo in America because they want those greenbacks, those dollars. Oh, I didn't know that. Of course you didn't, you fools. Did you guys know that yesterday we got rid of some people at the Department of Education? Many people had no idea. But I did the math, and the math.
Secretary of Education Linda McMahon saying in a statement, quote, "I appreciate the work of the dedicated public servants and their contributions to the department, and that this is a significant step," she says, "toward restoring the greatness of the United States education system," end quote. So a senior White House official assuring me earlier that this would not affect Pell Grants, student loans, or other core functions. Those are remain intact because of congressional restrictions. So impacted department staff will be placed on administrative leave beginning Friday, March 21st.
Oh, no. What will happen? Well, it's time we rethought education. Let's do that for a second. We need to teach where we're going, not where we're at and where we've been. We need to teach where we're headed in this world, and we need to be honest. And the first thing we need to do is go, it's time to have a solid apprenticeship program. It's time we start identifying kids' strengths when they're younger and realizing that the lies that were told to kids, even in my generation, that was my generation was the first generation where it was the SATs and all of this stuff super important. You had to go take them because everybody was going to college. You had to or else. They made it seem like, well, if you don't go to college, you start to breathe out of your mouth, right? Your knuckles drag on the ground. You can't fend for yourself. You might wear a helmet. You probably won't work. I mean, they made it feel that way. And I said, I'm okay with that because that was never my path. I knew that. My mom's like, you're going to be fine. And we sold these kids this bill of goods. And the education system now is taught in such a way. First of all, let's be real with teachers. I'm not a fan of the teachers union. I'm a fan of teachers. We need to pay them. They shouldn't be paying for their own supplies. They shouldn't be paying. And it's one thing, as we touched on a little bit yesterday, to pay for stuff where, it's like, I'm doing something different in the classroom, so I want the kids to have a good time. It's another thing to go, I don't have the stuff I need. I'm going to have to pay for it. And they're not getting paid for it. They're not getting reimbursed. They don't have the money that we should be paying. It's a tough job. And we make it tougher because they come up, and this goes to the Department of Education, all of these bizarre rules for DEI and wackiness. They have tons of consultants that they pay all this money to go into schools and to districts that they pay gobs of money to teach them not how to teach, but how to do stuff that has nothing to do with the classroom outside of taking away power from the kids, the teachers, and the parents. Yes, Bill.
It might be forgivable to have a teacher buy supplies out of their own personal pocket if it wasn't for the fact that money continues to be spent hand over fist on schools in the administrative sector.
Yeah.
Why can't we take some of that administrative money with all these redundant people that we don't need and put it into the classroom so teachers aren't spending money out of their own pocket?
100%. Only about, if I'm correct, about 80 to 90% of money that gets goes to schools in every state, it comes from the state itself. So realistically, anywhere between 10 to 20% comes from the federal government. And out of that, only about 20% makes it to the classroom. So think about that for a second. That is nothing. And they don't have a lot to, quote unquote, say when it comes to, the state has the say when it comes to education. But as far as what goes on in the classroom, but the federal side of it has a lot to say with a lot of the other stuff and how things are taught and certain things like that. And that is their outsized ability of pushing insanity. And we've seen that with Randy Weigart, who's nuts. Mike Pompeo, I think, called him the most dangerous person in America. And we have seen over the last just over a decade, almost a 13% increase in the amount of funding for schools. So 13%. And our schools have dropped their scores across the board. We need to reward teachers. I would love to see teachers make across the country, not just in California, where you can't, by the way, firing a teacher in California, $500,000. That's what it costs usually. You have to go through a program and you have to do all of these things with the unions. And the teacher is usually sent to a place where they have it, most of the districts, where it's just like a room or like a trailer where they just go and sit. So you're paying people. They still get their benefits. They still get all that stuff. They'll get their pensions. But that's what it takes to get rid of. That's not fair to kids. That's not fair to parents. We need to rethink education, rewarding teachers, keeping good teachers. Think outside the box. Think for the future. Get into a place where we start getting these kids, especially young men, opportunities to go be apprentices places and start teaching them things that are going to be useful for the world they should be in. Because sending them to college, for the most part, isn't something that's going to reward them. College is a business. It's what it is. It's a business. Like 70% of people, if not more, who have a college degree do not work in the field they have a college degree in. Both Belle and I have interpretive dance with a minor in African sculpting, and neither of us work in that. That's how we met.
I also have an additional minor in water sculpture.
Underwater basket weaving. Let's see here. 1972, solid year. My wife's first 4 years teaching, mind you, we were newly married and broke. She had to buy all of the copy paper herself for class. You have any of those? We can put it out. I'm sure there's plenty of you who are teachers out there. 9583. I ran for Coffee County Commissioner in 2014. There were 460 teachers and almost 200 administrators. Think about that. For every teacher, right? For every 2 teachers, you guys basically get your own administrator. Do we really need that much? Do we need 12 vice principals? No, we don't. We don't need all of those things. Let's put it in the classroom. Let's put it towards the kids. Let's get these kids working in fields that are going to be productive. Let's stop teaching for today and let's teach for tomorrow. Let's get them moving in the direction that is going to be useful for society. And also, and you give a good foundation with the basics, right? The reading, the writing. But then you get to a point where it's like, you know what? Timmy over here is never going to do anything in math. You know what Timmy is great at, though? Working on whatever. That's good. Let's put him over there. You know, Charlotte over here doesn't need to go to shop because she needs to get something. She hates that. She's great at English. Let's pile her with things that are going to help her in a way that moves her in a career that she may benefit from. It is so stupid the way that we've gone and done it, but it has nothing to do with education. We teach for test. We don't reward teachers. And we allow unions to have too much damn power. I want you to listen to this insanity. So this is a teacher who is, I guess she worked for the Department of Education. And, of course, they're all heroes. And I want you to listen as the MSNBC person starts to talk about like them and the heroes. And she gets into it, how she's been, you know, all the things that nobody can do anymore because they were the only ones who could ever do it.
In the public announcement of these cuts, part of the statement we got reads, the Department of Education will continue to deliver on all statutory programs that fall under the agency's purview, including formula funding, student loans, Pell Grants, funding for special needs students, and competitive grant making. Brittany, what do you see as the impact here for students, teachers, and families all around the country?
So I think she was like an attorney that worked for the Department of Education. What do you say, Brittany?
Well, I will tell you that I think the impact is that they're going to get the residuals of the chaos that we've been experiencing as employees. It's hard to believe that removing functions and removing the people who do those functions, such as making sure that students receive their services if they have special needs, or making sure that there is adequate documentation of the students receiving those needs, how that eliminating their function is going to help the American public. It's just unclear to me how removing Head Start or removing Title I funding through Block grants, how any of that would be actually helpful in getting to the students who need it most.
Is it working? No, it's not. And they already said they're not getting rid of vast majority of the grants. What they're getting rid of is you. That's what they're getting rid of. You're pissed because you're gone. The other things aren't leaving. In some cases, they will, but not all cases. And in some cases, there's going to be some new stuff that they were talking about. It's shrinking the administrative state, giving the power back to the parents, to the teachers, and empowering the kids and giving them the freedom to learn and teaching for tomorrow. We've got to rethink education in this country. Reach out to us. You can text the program. Got some of your texts coming up. A lot of other stuff still to get to today. Maybe some more wacky stuff. You don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Ken doesn't know. And he knows a lot.
I have no idea.
No idea. He writes the news. He sees the future, ladies and gentlemen. Super Talk 99.7. Yo-yo dieting sucks. Do not be the yo of the yo. Instead, try lean. Go to takelean.com. Use code Benson20. You know, you're saying, Chad, what is lean? It's a great way to get off the yo-yo dieting. Because if you do, I don't think people realize the losing a bunch of weight, then putting it back on, then losing it, that is, we joke about the yo-yo dieting. You know what it is? It's bad for you. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for, it increases diabetes and stroke percentage. You don't want that. You want to be on something where you don't have prescription and there's no shots. That's what lean's all about. Lean's going to help you 3 pills a day. It's going to help you with your energy. It's going to help you with the cravings. It's going to help you big time with your blood sugar, which is great. And to take the fat and to burn it, give you that energy you need. Try it now. Get off the yo-yo dieting. Get off the seesaw of the insanity and get on something that will work for you. It's called Lean. This is what I want you to do. Go to takelean.com. Use code Benson20, 20% off right now. Try it. I tried. I love it. It is amazing. TakeLean.com. Use code Benson20 now to save 20%. TakeLean.com, code Benson20.
All right, drivers still got that crash on the South Loop, 40 eastbound near 4th Avenue, then 40 westbound after Fessler's Lane. TDOT says there's a disabled vehicle there. Stalled vehicle that's affecting the left shoulder. TDOT says 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike, and then at the eastern split, got a crash going eastbound. A federal investigation into sexual abuse in the Southern Baptist Convention is over. We'll tell you what's next, coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A toddler running our country. He has spit up on his t-shirt, his belly hanging out, walking around knock-kneed. He has no balance, no equilibrium, and he needs a chainsaw. Oh, and make sure there's a chain in it. I want everyone to be afraid. And women, don't come near, because you're going to get sewn. I want a baby with you. I want a baby with you. You IVF, you surrogate, and you get a baby, baby, baby.
That's actually kind of funny.
She's not done. Come on, guys.
He's the kind of guy with the personality thing that makes you want to sow your wild oats. And I'm not just talking about a few. No, he wants to infiltrate the whole population and what kind of baby you're going to procure. How many heads will it have? 10 fingers and 10 toes on one arm, maybe. So now you have 40 digits. What are you going to do with that? Play the piano, I'm sure.
Wow. A fan of Elon there.
I ask again, what the hell is that?
Wow. That is a person who's not a fan of Elon, obviously.
No, but I give her props for the delivery.
Oh, God, it was spectacular. Like, oh, procure. Like, wait, that's no. I mean, produce, rather. We're going to produce, not procure. We're not going to go out and purchase a child. Oh, my God. You don't even know.
Oh.
Elon's like the worst. I'm cereal. He's like super not good. Okay?
Super not.
He's like, I know some people that are way more better and smarter than him, and they too could be rocket ship pilots like Elon and build electric cars, but they decided not to. They wanted to be baristas because they hate capitalism and they work for Starbucks.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. And that whole thing yesterday with the driverless car and stuff, that was, it's funny because the reaction of Trump is now going to say if anybody says anything bad, it could be terrorism or domestic terrorism. No. If you go and you start destroying things, there's a serious question, especially because they've got you can go to a website and it's called, is it Takedown? It might be Takedown or is it, Tesla Takedown is what it's called. So, because apparently there's another one that is you can go to. So you go to it's from the actionwork.org. And you can find out what's going on and how you can destroy stuff and maybe not have a baby with Elon Musk. But they have all of these down with Musk and Tesla. The Tesla Tuesdays. So today is what, the 13th? So, no, tomorrow's the 13th. So today we're, if you want to go take down Tesla, you can go to a couple places and they go to, charging stations. And if you want to go protest, knock yourself out. That's the beauty of our country. But if you want to go burn stuff down and try to destroy an American company, which is mind-boggling. This is the guy who made having an electric car cool. Do you guys remember what it was pre-electric car? Do you guys remember? I'm going to say it. It was a Prius. It was very douchey. Said it.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. It was ugly and it was stupid.
You were Ed Begley Jr. back then.
If I drove that, I'd want to kick my own ass. He made it cool. He made it awesome. It was incredible. Like, wow, look at these things are amazing. They don't look stupid. The people want to buy them. Even people that didn't care about the environment. They're like, that thing's cool. And now you hate him. Because why? He wants to cut stuff, but he's taking away. You can't even tell me what he's taking away. 6 weeks ago, not one of you knew what the hell USAID was. None of you did. You probably thought it was a hockey league somewhere. You had no idea. But now, oh, well, look at all the great, it did, the altruistic beauty of this. Stop with your crap. So now you want to destroy him? And it's orchestrated, and that's why it could be domestic terrorism. Now, picketing, screaming and yelling, all that stuff, it's the beauty of our country. It's free speech. But when you burn stuff down based on politics, that's the definition of terrorism. You're trying to use violence to get people to change their political beliefs. That is essentially the definition of terrorism. So if you would like to go today and to do the opposite of protesting, we have nothing here because we're not insane. The closest thing I think would be Oklahoma City. The Okies resist tomorrow. So you go to the event and they've got all kinds. Tesla takedown evening rush hour picket. The protest at the Palo Alto showroom. Oh, my Lord.
The Okies resist.
The Okies resist. I know, right? That's crazy. I'm not quite sure what goes on at these things. Low-key, persistent, informational picket is what they're saying. Sell your Teslas, dump your stock, join the picket lines. Here's my thing. Who are you selling your Tesla to?
Yeah.
And then are you going to tell that person who bought it to sell it? Well, we didn't really think this thing through. Coming up, JFK, RFK, all MLK. When are we going to get all this stuff? We're going to talk about that. We got more on Ukraine, bunch of other stuff straight ahead. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
.2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes. The Trump administration can't deport former Columbia University student and anti-Israel protest organizer Mahmoud Khalil yet. But the federal judge on the case says he's got to stay behind bars in Louisiana for now. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Khalil's green card is void for supporting the terrorist organization Hamas and anti-Semitic acts, which he says led to harassment of Jewish students.
You pay all this money to these high-priced schools that are supposed to be of great esteem, and you can't even go to class. You're afraid to go to class because these lunatics are running around with covers on their face, screaming terrifying things. If you told us that's what you intended to do when you came to America, we would have never let you in.
Federal judge weighing whether Khalil's arrest violates his First Amendment rights to free speech. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says cutting half of the Department of Education workforce will not disrupt critical services.
These cuts are a promise made and a promise kept. There is no reason that we should be spending more than most developed countries in the world, and our education system is failing.
Alex Brichet.
You're looking at cuts specifically to two main sections. That's the Office of Civil Rights and also federal student aid. Now, the Secretary McMahon, has said that federal student aid, you're not going to see any gaps in service for financial aid for college students. You think about all those college applicants applying for FAFSA. She's saying that that will still be on track.
Democrats facing another challenge in their quest to retake the Senate, says Sherry Preston.
Longtime Democratic Senator Jean Shaheen from New Hampshire has announced she will not be seeking re-election. She is the third Democratic senator to recently announce retirement, making a Democratic comeback in the Senate less likely.
And a federal investigation into sexual abuse in the Southern Baptist Convention is over. The Tennessean says it ended with only one conviction. Former Southern Baptist pastor and seminary professor Matt Queen, who pleaded guilty to lying to federal authorities about destruction of evidence containing information about an abuse report. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Busy bee. Zzz. They're the best, by the way. If you've got issues, maybe it's your HVAC. Maybe you're just thinking, hey, you know what? Summer's getting closer. We should get our air duct cleaned. They are ready for that. Great packages for you. Maybe if you're thinking to yourself, man, we really got some issues here with our plumbing and we've been putting it off, but we know we need to have a look. Busy Bee can help you with that. First thing you need to do is join the Famous Beehive Club. And it's simple and easy to do. And when you do that, what you get is a lot of perks, right? Because you're part of the club. And that's a good thing. They'll take care of you. They're not going to give you anything unnecessary. They're going to say, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's about taking care of you first and foremost. Whether it is something that has to do with your main line or your pipes are bad, maybe you want a tankless water heater, which is incredible. Or maybe you've got issues with your HVAC and you don't want to be in the summer where you're struggling big time and thinking, oh, goodness me, this is disgusting. No, have Busy Bee come out, take a look, and do it right now. Call 775-7833, 775-7833 for Busy Bee Heating and Cooling, Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. Call them today and join the club. Do it for me. Tell them I sent you, 775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Weather can change in an instant, and you need to be prepared for any outcome. That's why Generator Supercenter of Nashville will help keep your family safe and connected. We make buying a backup generator simple and easy, with financing options available, free in-home estimate, turnkey installations, no worry warranty, and most importantly, the monitoring and service of your fully installed generator. Come see us at our location in Nashville or visit us online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
Birch Gold. Text the word Benson to 989898 today. They're going to get you out an investor kit on gold. Why gold? Because it's been around forever. We're looking at uncertain times. We're looking at a lot of jittery people out there when it comes to investing in their future. We're looking at things right now that you want to go, is there some way I can protect myself? That's what gold's all about. It is that diversity when it comes to, hey, I'm going to divest over here and put a little bit over here, diversify over here, diversify over here. Gold needs to be a part of it because when things go south, people flee. In certain areas, they put their money. And why? Because they know it works. You want to protect your future? Absolutely. You want to protect what you've built for yourself, for your family? Gold is a huge part and a huge key to doing that. Weakened dollar, inflation. Yeah, think about it. This is what I want you to do. Text the word Benson to 989898 today. When you do that, they're going to send you an investor kit. Tell them I sent you. That's Benson to 989898. No high-pressure sale with Birch. They just want to get you the information. Text the word Benson to 989898 for Birch Gold. Is this us? All right, I thought it was a commercial. Hey, guys, do you like going to camps? We got plenty of camps this year. You guys want some more wacky people? I got so many wacky stuff. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This person, I have no idea what she is talking about for the MAGA sheep people.
Oh, MAGA sheep, you're so naive. You think this is for government waste? No, they're going after hardworking people, the 99%, and firing them because they have a $2 trillion deficit. But guess what? If every rich person paid their fair share of taxes, and I'm not talking about more taxes, their fair share, we would have $1 trillion to go into the budget.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And we're $36 trillion in debt, so that fixes that problem.
Yeah. By the way, if you took so they did a study. If you went and stole, basically, and confiscated, I like how they say, we're confiscating. No, it's stealing. If you went and stole all the money from all the wealthy people here, we're talking about, took everything they had.
100%.
6 to 9 months, it would fund the government.
You ain't going to tax your way out of $36 trillion in debt.
No, you're not. You're going to have to cut. And eventually, unfortunately, it's somewhere, in some case, we're going to have to probably think about how they go and they raise taxes to get this thing down if they can't cut enough. It's don't shoot the messenger. It's the reality.
And what this lunatic doesn't understand is that 46% of the income taxes are paid for by the 1%.
Yeah.
And if you're pulling down a government job, that six-figure salary for a government job, you're in the top 5%. So shut up.
Yeah, shut your pile. She's got more to say. And again, I have no idea. She starts going around, and apparently everybody's sheep.
But no, they don't want to go there, you suckers. Just wait until they come after your job. Just wait. MAGA sheep. It'll happen.
I love ridiculous people. I could listen to them all day. I love the internet for stuff like this. People go out and they're like, I'm going to say something ridiculous. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer, baby.
And away they go.
Yeah.
And it was, thank you so very much. God bless you. Keep doing it. I love just keep doing insanity. There is this thing called Russia. And how close are we to getting a deal done? That is a great question. Ball's really in their court, and then a lot of people are rooting for Putin to kick Trump's ass, which is, again, mind-boggling.
We had a great success yesterday. We have a full ceasefire. If it kicks in, we have to see. It's up to Russia now.
Up to Russia. Up to Russia. Ball is truly in their court. And somebody said earlier, Lavrov already said no. I'm like, no to what? Nobody's even talked to them. And of course he's going to say no, because Trump and them are going to find out, hey, okay, what does he really want? What is this really going to take to get done? And this is going to be a real good situation for Trump to shush the naysayers when it comes to Putin and how tough he may have to get.
Hopefully we can get a ceasefire from Russia. And if we do, I think that would be 80% of the way to getting this horrible bloodbath finished. It's a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. And it is a bloodbath. Last night, man, Russia absolutely just went ballistic, literally with missiles, and killed a bunch of people. And people are like, oh, how can they do that? Well, they haven't signed on to anything. There is no ceasefire. There is a framework of which Ukraine has said, yeah, we could do this. But we don't know what Russia's going to say. And they're going to play the usual, we don't think it's good enough for us. We want these, and these. And then, it's going to go back and forth. And then we'll see. Because if he says, no, I don't want it, I'm not going to do it. Well, then what's Trump going to do? But you've got to see first. You got to have the conversation. Speaking of conversations, I'd like to know where JFK files are. I'd like to know that. The Epstein files, what was it yesterday? Who's his former attorney, the hot one? Alana? I forgot her name.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because he only surrounds himself. You ever notice that? He doesn't have any 450-pound guys in there who can barely breathe. She literally danced her way through school. But she came out, and she's a very nice lady. She came out, and she said, look, we've got all the information now. Pam Bondi. Again, Pam's not said a lot. Can we just say she's been a little quiet in this? That they have it all now. They're going through it all now. And they're making sure that, as they've said, they're redacting the names of people that are in a situation where they could be, outed as a victim and to protect their identity, et cetera, et cetera. But, okay. Well, what about JFK? What about that? Where's the releasing of the files there? Because a lot of people are asking that question as well.
Last thing, before I let you go, Daily Mail article. Tucker Carlson has claimed that Republican Senator Tom Cotton has been working behind the scenes to block the release of the JFK assassination files. In a conversation with Chris Cuomo, Carlson claimed the Arkansas lawmaker prevented a key intelligence hire in the Trump cabinet in order to stop the full release of the classified documents. Your response?
That's false. I have no problem.
Completely false.
Completely
Nothing
false.
to it.
I have no problem releasing the JFK files. Tucker could have called or texted me. He has texted me multiple times in recent weeks and asked me, and I would have told him that. I've never spoken to President Trump or any of his associates or administration officials about the JFK files. I've never objected to someone taking office because of their position on the JFK files.
Because that is what Tucker Carlson is basically saying, that there are people inside of the administration, because Mike Pompeo apparently went to Trump when he was going to release all the files originally and told him, you can't do it. And Trump's like, all right, fine, whatever. And there was a reason. And now they're saying, well, hold on. Tom Cotton is making sure that people that could be appointed to areas where they may be having access, that they're getting shot down. In no way can they be confirmed or anything, because there is some sort of secret back dealing and protection, which, look, if you believe in the deep state, I believe in the bureaucracy, administrative state, but if you believe in the deep, deep state, then to think that we're going to get any of these things is fanciful. Because if you believe that we could go out and kill our own president, sanction it, know about it, and do nothing, do you really think they're going to release that? That's a tough one. That's a tough one for me to believe. If you believe that.
I have to say I have complete faith in Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, John Ratcliffe, and Tulsi Gabbard to carry out President Trump's directive on the JFK files. I'm a little surprised that Tucker Carlson apparently doesn't have faith in those 4 people, all of whom I think he knows and personally respects, that they're going to carry out President Trump's directive.
But you're convinced, as Senate Intelligence Committee chair, that all of that is going to happen despite all the stuff online that and the Epstein files somehow are going to not get out?
Well, to be clear, I don't really know what the so-called JFK files might contain. I've read news reports that there's about 3,000 documents that have not been released yet. I think they're going through a declassification review process at the Department of Justice, at the DNI, and the CIA. Again, I have total confidence in Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe and Pam Bondi that they'll release those as appropriate as the president directed. I have no problem with that.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I still don't know about the Epstein files. And by the way, here's one thing that I don't think a lot of people thought about. If you believe, first of all, earlier today I did the show with the Chicks on the Right. I fill in when either Mock or Daisy. I don't know if you guys know who the Chicks on the Right are. And we were talking about this, and she was super excited. Somebody tweeted in the name or texted in the name of the lady. It was it Ali? It's not Alibaba. But it's Alana Habab, whatever. But as they talk about this, I said, if you believe that there's all these names and all these people, chances are our government knew about it. Chances are our government may have even not just turned a blind eye, worked in conjunction with. So one thing I know about government, my God, they won't even go, maybe weed shouldn't be a Schedule I drug. They won't say sorry. Do you think they're going to go out themselves as either killing the president or being a party to somebody like Epstein, if they were a part of that's going to get out? Hell no, that's not going to get out. Or our allies. Do you think Israel's going to go, yeah, that's totally fine that he worked with the Mossad? That's good. That's totally good. You guys can release that. That'll be fine. We're good. We've already got enough good press. We can handle this. No. And how about those women out there that maybe say to themselves, you know what? I don't want any part of this. I don't want you guys to put me in a position where something could happen to me. So we'll see. And the fact that I thought they're declassifying, I thought these things were already supposed to be declassified. I thought it was just, I was told day one, we're all getting this stuff. I still don't know where the damn UFOs are, for God's sakes. Coming up, we're going to wrap up the program today. It's been a fun program. We talked about a lot of wacky stuff. Had a lot of wacky things. I've got so much wackiness. It's just, I love crazy. I do. I love crazy.
It's because you like what you are.
I do. I recognize, game recognizes game.
True.
It does.
True.
Matt Murphy, that's his name. He's coming up next. I think he's here. I haven't seen it because we got the shades pulled just in case. Sunshine? I don't know why. So we'll see.
From inside the building?
I don't know who pulled the shades. It had to be Dan. Maybe somebody came in and stared at Dan.
Probably.
Made him feel uncomfortable. Like
somebody came up to the window with their arms open for a hug, and Dan was like, not having this.
No, I can't do this. We'll wrap it up straight ahead. It's Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. He is a sharp-dressed man, Matt Murphy. Matt, I was talking earlier, I heard you and Chris talking, and what you doing today and that cause, because we were talking about boys and men and how society has dissed them, and I can guarantee that the guys that you're working with, a vast majority of them probably didn't have a father in the home.
Many of them did not have a father in the home, and then many of them became individuals who had children and were not in the home for their own children because they were incarcerated. And for them to find a life that has Christ in it and to find a better path and a better way and to make amends with their own children and to tell those stories is impactful. I mean, it's incredibly powerful to listen to those stories. And it is as honest a conversation as you ever want to have.
And
because
it's incredible. It is because the recidivism rate and, putting money into, we have to ask ourselves, is it about punishment? For certain things, it absolutely is. But is it also, because the vast majority of people in prison, including violent and yes, even some murderers, will be back on the streets
90%,
one day.
90%.
And so what do you do with people because they get out and like I was saying, you go and you teach them a skill. Okay, HVAC or this, that, and the other. And then they get out and they can't get bonded or licensed. So you gave them a skill that they can never use.
Right.
What a waste of time.
We were sitting in Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton's office, several of the graduates of Men of Valor, myself, Raul Lopez, who is the executive director of Men of Valor, and we were talking about that very thing. And Cameron was asking questions about, what their relationship was with the jobs programs within the prison system and whether or not they worked for them. And they said the very same thing. They said, one, Tennessee's lagging behind. Sadly, one of these gentlemen was incarcerated in Florida for 10 years, and then he got busted. He found Christ later on in life, got busted in Tennessee, so he had a little bit of a comparison. And he said, Tennessee we're just sitting around in a lot of ways. Yeah. We're not doing anything. We're not learning life skills. And prison is not for the teaching of life skills. But the bottom line is, if these guys are going to get out, do you want someone to come out of the prison system that is going to commit crimes again? Or do you want someone to come out of the prison system that potentially can lead a productive life? And we were talking about this very things. It's always special to get around those guys to see the humble nature that so many of them have. I mean, these are hard asses. These are bad asses. Yeah. They've been in gangs. They've been a part of the worst, but they somehow escaped the worst of the worst in terms of they're not murderers. They're not rapists. They did not commit those types of crimes, but they did enough that they found themselves in a cycle that they couldn't get out of. And you know what? The Bible gets you out of a lot of that.
Amen. And it's funny when I've done stuff for this in California, and the frustration. I said, California, if you're going to go and you put people through carpentry school or HVAC in this, then you should say to all these companies, we will license, we will bond, we will do it, because what happens is they get turned down 50 times, then it becomes anger and desperation. They feel they have nothing else, and they go back to their old ways, and then it costs the state and everybody else money, and it's cost somebody a life and potentially more people lives.
One of the reasons that I love Men of Valor is Men of Valor goes to some of these businesses, all of these businesses that they associate with. And I don't want to put words in Raul or Alex's mouth, but I'll say it this way. They say, we're not telling you to trust this guy over here that just got out of prison and that was a graduate of our year-long program with Men of Valor. We're asking you to trust us.
Yeah.
We are an organization, and they've developed that level of trust that there are many businesses around the state of Tennessee that want Men of Valor graduates because they know what they're getting, and they're getting positive individuals that are going to be beneficial to their companies,
and
not somebody that's
who want to work and give back to a society that they'll rightly tell you they took so much from.
Right.
And they want that opportunity. And it's funny, I was talking to a guy when I was in California, and this is before I moved to Arizona and everything, and he didn't really meet his son till his son was in prison with him.
Wow.
And you think to yourself, my God.
That's the cycle, man.
It is. It's
the cycle.
It's ugly.
I saw for the second time. I'd met him earlier. I saw Tommy for the second time. Tommy is a story that is amazing to tell. He was in prison. He's Brooks. If you have ever watched Shawshank Redemption, he was in prison for 47 years and does not actually know his real name.
Wow.
He does not know the name that his parents gave him. He was given a name as he grew up and as he started criminal offenses. And he was in prison for 47 years. And he just got out about, I think it was about 5 months ago, and he's in the Menovalta program doing well.
That's awesome.
Doing well.
Matt Murphy, straight ahead. Chad Benson, you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Super Talk 99.7.